Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long Boys Blues, 1975. A YouTuber on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug me. Long Boys Blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975. I spat then. How disgusting. And welcome to the Wednesday vlog. Yes, there's a Wednesday vlog. On a Wednesday, there was a vlog of sorts last week, but it was a driving vlog, something I want to talk about later on. And it was on a Tuesday, partly because I couldn't do it on a Wednesday, and there was no Wednesday vlog before that because I wasn't feeling it. And I've always said to myself, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to go through the motions. Because it's not fair on you guys, you know, you take the time to watch me, it shouldn't just be me ticking boxes and shit like that. And I've also said that if it ever gets to a point where I just don't feel like doing it anymore, because I do this because I like doing it and I like having some sort of, normality to the way I schedule videos. I was almost going to say programs, but I'm not fucking TV. Schedule videos because it's nice to have that sort of consistency, especially if you're someone who takes the time to watch me. But if it ever gets to a point, because I've seen it happen to people before, and it doesn't mean they don't want to make content anymore, they burn out or anything like that. It's just sometimes you move on or you want to try different things, something else. Look, I've got a list. This is a very random vlog, by the way, but something else, like changing and keeping things fresh, I want to excuse me, talk about a little bit later on, providing I've got enough room, because I don't even know how much memory is on this phone. Excuse me. It's 6:45 in the morning. The sun is up. It's hot as hell already. That's why the window's shut. It won't be shut, or the blind. It won't be shut when I try to sleep. Not a fan of summer. You like summer? That's brilliant. I talk about it all the time. I'm just not a fan of summer. But I was thinking about it, and I guess the reason that I'm not a fan of summer, my job is kind of, this sounds horrible, any of you else work shifts or nights out there, I'd like to know what you think, but I always used to be a fan of summer, not so much blazing heat, but I think having worked, nights for almost close to a decade, that, I don't know, it kind of changes your preference of the seasons, if you will, which is, I like it being cool, and I've always liked rain. I love the sound of rain, like, really hard, heavy rain. I've always liked that, and when you live on a hill and you don't have to worry about flooding, it's not really an issue. But yeah, when it's more comfortable to sleep in cool weather, and obviously a staple side effect of sleeping during the daytime is that's when the sun is up. I think that has kind of changed my perception of my preference of the season. So it's not me being negative, because I do realize that I've said it a few times in videos. It's not me being negative, it's just that's the world I live in. If I ever change jobs and do into non-shift work or something like that, or non-night work, then maybe it'll return again. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. This is, I think the title's going to be something like a very random vlog, or let's have a chat, or I don't know, some bollocks like that. Next of all, if somebody drives a lot, because of where I live, public transport isn't an option, especially the hours I work. Excuse me, aspartame goodness. That will keep me cool. Yeah, sorry for the noise. Airport over there. Can't have the window shut. I'll fucking die. Yeah, if somebody drives a lot, has to, can't rely on public transport. Hours I work, they're not actually effective. Where I live, public transport is rubbish. You drive. I was taught when I first passed my test to treat everyone else on the road like a fucking moron. No offense to any of you out there, I'm not saying you're a bad driver, that's just how my dad taught me to drive. People walking in on the side of the road, just assume everyone is an idiot, and at any moment they're going to try and just screw up your day. And I've always gone by that, but the other day I had a really, really near miss, and it made my piss boil. I was coming up the hill towards home, 60 miles an hour, allowed to, 60 mile an hour speed limit. Guy comes to a junction in front of me on the left to pull across my lane, an inside lane, onto the right lane. Doesn't even look. There's no one behind me, so why he can't wait, I don't know. There's no one coming the other way, the incoming way for me. Thank fuck, because it's when you think about these things afterwards, that's when you shiver. And he pulled out straight in front of me. And like I slammed my ankles on, like fuck, I had anti-lock brakes. And after he pulled out in front of me, and obviously my horn was on, that's when he turned around and he saw me. And I still wouldn't be able to stop at this point. He stopped in the middle of the road, which to me I guess is good luck, because then I went around him into the oncoming traffic side of the road and back onto my side of the road. Did he stop? Did he fuck? He just drove off. I was quite shaken up, so I just went home. But it's when you think about it afterwards that you're like, my God, what could have happened? And it was just the fact that it's that early in the morning. It's like, dude, if you're not fucking awake, don't get in your car. Anyway, I don't mean to be melodramatic. It's not about that. But it's just for, bollocks, am I losing my baby? I love my car. So I went and bought a dash cam. That you actually stick it to the window. It's really, really cool. It's really, really cheap. You plug it into your cigarette lighter, you turn on your ignition, it starts automatically, you turn your ignition off, it stops. When it gets to the end, it goes back to the start and starts writing over the files again. So you've got to remember to, obviously copy them off if you need them. But then having said that, I'd imagine hitting a car, in your airbag, slapping you in the face would probably mean you would remember to take your camera and copy the files. But the reason I want to talk about this is you're aware of what's going on in your immediate sort of vision and stuff, and you're concentrating. And you concentrate on the sides of roads and stuff like that. And the immediate threats to you, I should say, you're aware of. When you watch one of these things back, holy shit, because you're looking all around the screen, you won't believe how much crazy shit's going on. People emptying rubbish out the windows, houses. People throwing beer cans like out the back of a lorry and stuff, it going under someone else's wheel, flying off in another direction. Cyclists, your cyclist, cool. But cyclists, no lights, no high vis vest, dressed in black, going through red lights at night. Like, what the fuck? People stopping for no reason, then turning right. It's just like, holy shit, the road is a mess. I don't know if the police need to be, a bit more proactive out there, but when I watch these videos back, I'm like, fuck me. How did I live this long without one of these? This is unbelievable. I don't know, maybe the standards of driving have dropped, but honestly, if you have a dash cam, I'm sure you're like me, which is the stuff that you watch back afterwards, even when you haven't thought that you've been involved in anything, well, you've not been involved in, nothing's directly affected you, but you watch it back afterwards out of curiosity, and the shit going on is absolutely unbelievable. It's scary, man, what goes on out there on the roads. I'm not just like drivers, like pedestrians, cyclists, animals off leashes and stuff like that darting across the road, people who don't look and then run across the road because they're late for a bus. It's like, wow, man, holy shit. But if you're a motorist, I urge you to get a dash cam, seriously. Especially, touch wood, if you've got like a 20-year no claims bonus like me. Anyway, now, all that aside, told you it was going to be a random vlog. Now, next what I want to talk about is, lots of people have asked me behind the scenes on here and on Facebook, which is being very, very quiet about E3. Why haven't you said anything about E3? And it's, being quiet and not talking about E3 is not the same as not being interested. But the reason I've just been quiet, I've watched it, but I haven't really expressed any views or opinions on it, is it doesn't really affect me. This is probably the first E3 where I'm properly, going into it without a system that's relevant at all. Obviously, the last or newest system I own is a Wii U. So there's nothing that directly affects me. So an opinion is here, by the way. It's like the Xbox One X. It doesn't affect me. I've been very interested. I'm very surprised at it being a lot more powerful than the PS Pro, but I can't drop $500 on a system. Even when it comes down, eventually price drops. It'll be expensive. So it's, I know it's, again, I haven't vocalized opinion on it. I have said to someone directly when I asked them, which is I'm quite impressed by the specs, but it's it doesn't directly affect me. I was really happy that there's going to be a Metroid Prime 4 that Nintendo announced. But again, I don't have a Switch, and I always say never. But since I don't have a Switch and I have no interest, I'm not saying it's a bad console, it's just it doesn't do it for me. I have no interest in the immediate future of picking one up. Then other than saying I think that's cool about Metroid Prime 4, it doesn't I can't really form an opinion on it, because it doesn't affect me. And you got Xbox One. Excuse me, Windy Pops. PlayStation 4 releases, don't own either of those machines. So yeah, it's not that I'm negative on it or don't care about it. It's just, in the real world, it doesn't affect me. So, I was quite surprised at people who actually want my opinion on E3, because there's a lot more intelligent, more with it gamers out there than I am. Anyway, So yeah, that side. Although I will say this now, I always say never because I might be about to upgrade. In my style, it will be upgrade to something that's not even cutting edge anymore as such. And I'm sure if I do, I'll get a bunch of people going back through old videos saying, "Hey, you know, you sell out, blah blah blah." But that's why I always say never. I'm terrible at saving. So I found this really, cool, unique way of doing it, which is get one of those tins you buy from the pound shop that you put money in, but if you want to open it to get your money out, you have to do a tin opener. And it's not in my locker anymore. People, if anyone wants to break into my locker, go crazy. All you're finding is a bunch of cup of soups and maybe some DVDs I fucking left in there for 2 years and never taken home. Irrelevant. Oh, and a cup and a fork. Maybe a pot noodle. But yeah, it used to be, and I got into the habit of just putting £3 coins in it every shift at work. And then I had to, break into it once, and that was when it was half full, and there was 165 quid. Such a good way to save, honestly, if you can't save like me. 165 quid in there, that fixed everything for my MOT. I broke into it before that, early last year, because it's been in there for ages. That's when I bought my new netbook. It's brilliant, but by my mind, since it's full, no way, I cannot afford a new system. And so I'm probably going to go with, especially since talking to a friend, and I didn't realise how cheap they are dependent upon where you shop in the country, and I'm probably going to go to a second-hand one. I'm probably going to get an Xbox One. So yeah, behind the times for everyone else, but with it for me, because I have to have a current system. Not for the sake of I have to have a current system, but there are games I want to play, but not ones where I want to drop shitloads of money, like on a Switch or, certainly on an Xbox One X. Preferred Scorpio. Or Scorpion or whatever, Scorpio, and I can't afford PlayStation 4 Pro, although I would like one eventually just for the VR, but again, that's really, really expensive. Anyway, told you this was a random wafflage. Right, something that I was asked was, how important is it for you to keep things fresh? Or is it very much you have an audience that expects certain things from you? This will make a sense a little bit later. It ties into what my next topic is. Or should you, if you have an audience that invested with you, sub with you for one specific thing, or a myriad of things that you do, whether it's gameplay, vlogs, things like that, then should you stick to that formula? Because if you try mixing it up and trying new things and keeping it fresh, then are you going to lose or alienate an audience? And it's because the reason I want to talk about this is I've changed the way I vlog, apart from not now, but never mind. And it's entirely up to you. If something works for you and you tick all the boxes and people like it, you get a great response, you get views, you get interaction, comments and stuff like that, then brilliant. But my personal thoughts on it is, and I'm not mixing things up massively, but I will do new things from time to time. But I have a core that I won't stray too far away from, but that won't necessarily mean that I won't be afraid to mix it up, try new things and go in a different direction. Because part and parcel of doing something and perfecting your abilities and skill to do it and doing it for a certain amount of time and becoming comfortable with it is your confidence grows, your skill set grows, your ability grows, and it's only natural that even without you necessarily realizing it, you're slightly drifting into different areas of different things and stuff like that. So I would say simply, yeah, you know what, you can be true to the formula you found that works, but you should not be afraid of going in a new direction, because ultimately growth is a good thing, and that's part and parcel of being human, which is constantly wanting to evolve and move forward. Now the reason I say that, and it's a bit weird with why my new thing is driving vlogs, because a few people have asked me behind the scenes, what's the deal with driving vlogs? Do they replace regular vlogs? And they don't, but it's got this mindset in me which I've enjoyed doing it. A few people have left comments like, hey, I didn't realise that this part of the country looked like this, and people from abroad saying, hey, I didn't realise that England wasn't 4 weddings and a funeral and stuff like that. And so it got me thinking into, you see me mostly, apart from in the wild, tiny little segments of shops, but even in pickup videos, you see me mostly in vlogs within these walls, or maybe in the walls of my house, etc. And I don't know, I think if someone's watched you for long enough, certainly with the way I watch other people, and you form an attachment and you consider them a friend, and I consider you my friends, then it's, I don't know how to word this without it sounding weird or creepy or voyeuristic. I don't know, sometimes you want to have a little peek in their world, know what it's like, know where not just where they shop and things like that, but because you just see a face on a camera, so maybe sometimes it'd be nice to see more behind that camera, if that makes sense. And that's kind of where the driving vlogs thing came from, because while I started initially because it was convenient and I could do it on the way home from work, having an idea in my head, then it got to the point, because of comments and stuff like that, and sometimes going home and having to take alternative routes and stuff like that. I don't know, it felt like, hey, this is a little bit of my world. You've seen me in game stores, you see me in my room, I think it's only natural, at least for me again, watching other people's, playing other people's channels, which is, we share a similar set of passions, love, whether it's movies, video games, buying games, picking up games and stuff like that. And so curiosity is there, isn't it? Which is, hey, that person does it in America, that person does it in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, France, Japan and stuff like that. Where what you're doing is initially the same, the culture of the places and the setup of society and cities and stuff like that, and how you shop there and things like that make it a different experience. So I like to see that. I like to kind of gain a little bit more into the background of the individual. And so with the driving vlogs, where I want to take my channel in a different direction, it won't just be driving vlogs. Just want to, I don't know, it seems like it's been confined for ages, and I'm not saying it doesn't work or anything like that, but open it up a little bit more, maybe show you a little bit more of my world, maybe these were suggestions from my Q&A, maybe do some kind of walkie vlogs and stuff like that, maybe vlog in a park out in a particular place that's well known to Bristolians, I don't know, like the Suspension Bridge or something like that. Maybe do some videos where I show you parts of my town. I think there's no reason for me. I mean, you're all my mates, and isn't that what you want to do? You want to share your experiences with your friends and your life experiences. Hey, this is my life. What's yours like? So I think where I want to go in new directions is I want to open up my channel a little bit more and kind of, I don't know, just expose you out there if you're interested. Maybe no one is, I don't know. In my world, the little part of the world where I live right now. So anyway, as always, that was a very random vlog. Thank you very much for sticking with me. But yeah, as always, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.